10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Kiev Major qualifiers. This is going to be game number 2 of a best of 3 between Digital Chaos, the former Onyx squad from NA, versus Newbee. DC, man, they took game 1. Whew.
Newbee's turn to
Brax, what's your take on that?
Yeah, they look good. I mean, you can definitely see their identity, how they want to play each and every game. Abed is the man. They want to beef him up, get him nice, big, and strong, and hopefully he can destroy the game, just like he did the last game.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Yep, it's definitely a hero that has
Reserve time.
become a lot more popular after DAC. I think a lot of teams prioritize this hero extremely highly now in the first phase, pretty much. Just a good overall hero. She's good at pressuring the offlane, very, very strong in lane. Has some nice utility, being able to remove some of these disables on your other core heroes. And then duel's always nice for the BKB lockdown, so not bad at all. Of course, there are lots of other heroes left in the pool. We have our Monkey King, our Treant Protector, Magnus, all these popular heroes.
Yeah, definitely something that
Monkey King
Newbee could look to snap up first. They're going to go straight in for the Monkey King combo with the Warlock, so got a nice little bit of team fight there for you. You get some golems dropped on top of the Wukong command, and all my frames die, but that's okay.
All
Digital
your frames
Chaos.
and all the enemies.
Go back in for the Vengeful Spirit. We are seeing so much love for this fallen princess. I mean, what's up with all the Venge love lately? Is it just because she is such a fluid core?
It's definitely a strong hero. Before this tournament, I wasn't really convinced that Venge is this strong, but maybe Venge really is this strong, where every team wants to play against this hero or play with this hero in the first phase. It might just be kind of like Lifestealer, where for one tournament, people really like this hero, they're playing it all the time, and they haven't really figured out the best way to play against the hero, how to counter it pretty much. Like, we don't see Lifestealer in the first 2 from most teams anymore.
10 seconds.
Besides like IG, I don't think any team really prioritizes the hero as highly anymore. We've had a lot of time to play around with these counters that just are good against the hero all throughout the game and in lane. And maybe Venge is that kind of hero, or maybe not. Maybe it's just a good hero overall. I really don't know.
If you got to nerf Venge in one way, what would you do?
10 seconds remaining.
I think I would change. Well, I wouldn't want to kill the hero. The hero should do the exact same thing. It would just be like a number tweak. Maybe the level 20 talent where it gives 65 damage, maybe it'd be like 55 or 50. That's about it. It'd still be pretty much the same hero.
Okay, that's fair. Newbee moving on to their third pick here, a second round of bans. We took out the Juggernaut. That is going to be a pretty hard hit for Newbee, as it is one of their favorite heroes right now. It's going to be U9's most played hero this patch and last patch, I believe. So not going to be snapping him up. Centaur Warrunner, though, going to be a nice pick for KP. I mean, just pretty solid all-around good offlaner. We saw in game number 1 of our first series how Centaur can just be so tanky that towers kill themselves on him in like 2 shots. So
yeah, that Centaur was ridiculously farmed. He had heart at such an early time, and he just tanked all the towers. They couldn't kill him at all. We'll see if this Centaur manages to be as scary as that one. They do have the same setup, the Centaur Warlock combo, Undying for DC. All right. This is not a very common hero because he falls off extremely hard into the game, but for the first like 15 minutes of the game, this hero is a god. Like, nobody really wants to fight into Tombstone. He's tanky with the decay stacks. Soul Rip is amazing when you're grouped up early like that. And they also have the heroes to kind of complement that. Vengeful Spirit, Legion Commander. All these heroes are very good at grouping up and fighting together.
Reserve time.
Newbee going into their 4th pick here. Still need to pick up their core, their mid, so still holding their cards pretty close to their chest, but DC should get a little window of what they're thinking about here. I mean, still good things left in the pool. Could still go for the lifestealer here if they wanted to, but again, clearly DC know how to play against it. Clearly they can read the situation right, so not super obvious here what they should be going for. I know SCCC really likes himself an Ember Spirit for mid lane. Would that be something they can go for here? Or is that just not, high octane enough? Is that not going to be online fast enough?
It's definitely a good hero, but it's a bit countered by the Legion Commander. The press the attack from LC removes the chains, so he can't lock these targets down as he'd like to. And when LC gets some farm later on, duel becomes very dangerous for Ember. He has to get a Lincoln Sphere pretty much so he doesn't get dueled, or he has to play extremely carefully. But I mean, I could definitely see Newbee going for Ember Spirit here. It's not bad at all. They have the Stampede to help him maneuver these fights. Warlock can cast Fatal Bonds to amplify his AoE damage. And DC don't have a lot to deal with it. They have the Undying, who has no stuns, not a mobile hero. Vengeful Spirit stun is very easy for Ember Spirit to play around. And LC is really only a problem when she has a lot of damage and Blink Dagger. But here comes the Sven. Alright.
DC's turn to
We talked about that last game. U9's been playing it a fair amount here. It's his 4th most picked in the last 30 days. DC here, I feel like I want to see an Abed Invoker. I think it kind of meshes with that strat of, get active really early.
Oh, there you go.
In the bag! Get wrecked. Okay. Cool. So DC moving on to their last pick.
Nice.
I'm feeling good about myself. Yeah, I mean, last band's coming out. Digital Chaos looking to round out their draft here. I mean, what's their ideal finisher? I'm assuming this is Venge Core, but you never know. It seems like DC, they just want to hit the ground running. They just want to, pedal to the metal and get a huge swing of early momentum.
Reserve time, 10 seconds
Yeah, I
remaining.
think it's also going to be a Venge Core. It might be... I don't know. I don't understand the hero well enough, but there is some merit to having Venge as a support hero. You can swap the Monkey King out of his ultimate to kind of break that. If he wants to play that kind of suicide bomber role to, salvage team fights. But Newbee, they're scared of the Faceless Void. They ban it out. Combos well with the Invoker. Good against Sven. And
10 seconds remaining.
I mean, with the way DC played last game, I wouldn't be surprised if Venge was core again.
Remaining.
But of course, they can switch it up. They can do whatever they think suits their draft better. And I feel like their ban will give away a lot of what they're looking towards if they want to carry or support here. Because Newbee still need a mid hero.
Yeah, in terms of newbie mids, I mean, what SCCC has been playing recently, Ember Spirit, Owl, Kalina, Shadow Fiend, Invoker, so a pretty big spread of all the most common heroes. They're going to ban out the Quap. Not something he in particular has been playing recently, but would just go pretty well against DC's lineup. So,
all right, Quap.
DC, wow, okay.
Okay.
I like.
So
you
it's
got
gonna be a safe lane Timber.
That's cool. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of flexibility in DC's draft, and I feel like there's not very super strict position 1, 2, 3, 4 here. I think it's just kind of everyone fill in the gaps and get pushing as fast as possible. And I like this puck pick. It's kind of that momentum slower. It's going to keep Invoker in check a little bit in the mid lane, but also just a Dream Coil can definitely help out these fights. What do you think?
I think the puck was definitely a nice pick. DC, so when they pick Timbersaw like that, it kind of telegraphs their lanes. They want this Timbersaw in the safe lane against Centaur, where he can't really get pressured at all. And that frees up heroes like Venge and Undying to do pretty much whatever they want. So they're probably going to spend all their early game time kind of accelerating Legion Commander's game. They're going to do like a late aggro where they kind of come in later on into the lane once LC kind of, has been there for like a level or two. And they'll kind of take over that part, and then Timbersaw is going to be like level 4 or 5, and he won't be stoppable at all in the safe lane. Like, when Timbersaw hits level 5, he can tank the tower and sit at full HP the entire time, while just attacking it the whole time, and they literally can't touch him.
So it's their own little mini Centaur.
Yeah, exactly, except he deals like 10 damage a hit to the tower, but he'll whittle it down eventually. And it's kind of like, you have so much pressure everywhere on the map that you can't really do anything about it. If you move from one place, then Timbersaw is gonna get so much. If you move from the other place, LC is gonna hit your tower as well. And then meanwhile, Invoker's farming the entire time. It definitely plays into their playstyle and how they played last game. They tried to dedicate all their resources to accelerating Abed's game, making him into a big, scary, carry that can actually 1v5 the game. So, I mean, it's cool to see that they like stick to their kind of play style no matter what they have, right?
Prepare for
But,
Yeah,
battle.
we're gonna see how it works out for them. Again, here, this potentially could be the last game of the series. DC wiping out Newbee, a quick 2-0. Not what a lot of fans were expecting here, but showing that the former Onyx squad, DC, I mean, they deserve to be here. I think there's a lot of people out there talking a little smack, but clearly if they're taking games off of one of the best teams in China, this is fantastic for them.
yep, if they can hang with these teams, they can definitely silence the haters out there. And I feel like Newbee, they have to expect this. There's no way they don't know this is coming. And they may try to aggro, or Monkey King might start up top lane with Jingu Mastery to try to zone out the Timber and give Centaur a better start, or maybe the lane is impossible to salvage for Centaur, which is probably the case. I don't think they can do anything if Centaur's solo. And it looks like Sven is going to be in the top lane. So yeah, they know what's coming. They're going to dodge the lane to give Sven a bit of a better game. And that may throw DC off a little bit, like Undying might not be able to spend so much time in the bottom lane. Maybe he'll spend time securing Timbersaw's lane, but Timbersaw doesn't really want that because he wants solo experience to get these levels in his reactive armor early on, because if he doesn't have those, then he's very vulnerable. So, Newbie read the situation, and they're kind of dodging it, making the best of what they can.
Begins.
But it's still hard. You can't really run 3 heroes head on into an Undying. It's not a good time. He'll decay you, stack up the strength, and then just can't lane.
We got Dubu just dancing around here. God, that Undying taunt is so wacky.
It's so good.
So, down bottom, looks like our lanes are just going to be Warlock and Centaur chilling together. Up top, I mean, already a couriered Monkey King just popping out some vision here.
Been a nice play from him. He blocks the pole camp.
Demon just going to be running right into Kaka, but doesn't want to tangle too quickly. He's just having some fun with his shapeshifting. And Bulba on our offlane Legion Commander. I mean, against Centaur and Warlock, how should Bulba be doing here?
I mean, he'll be fine. There's not really a lot of kill potential. He'll actually switch. So Sven goes back to the bottom lane. He TP's down there. And this is actually probably what DC wants. They want Timbersaw in this kind of a lane so that they can eventually rotate their supports down to Bulba's lane and pressure. Dubu's in some trouble here, actually. Kaka's got the Jingu Mastery stacked up.
Yeah, he's already got the Jingu Mastery now. Kaka has to be careful here. Can't get too crazy as Centaur. I mean, he's tanky, but he's only level 1. He's got to be careful. No more hoof stomps as Kaka's just going to be going and trying to get the body blocks. Demon goes forward. A couple more right clicks would have been enough, but now Kaka just going to be rotating back. Both heroes getting out safely, but just barely. And they're going to have to use their shrine at, a minute and a half in the game.
Yeah, unfortunately, no Sunstrike and no Whirling Death from the Timbersaw. He obviously takes the reactive armor pretty much in every lane scenario. So yeah, I mean, overall it's a win. They forced them to Shrine, however they've come right back and now they are very annoying to deal with, but Mason is sharing his experience right now, and that's not exactly what you want for Timbersaw.
And he still found his level 2, so I mean his levels are coming in. It's not like he's got 4 heroes just buddy by his side, so it'll take him a little bit longer, but at least he can avoid death here. Dubu just keeping everyone's zone back. Towards our mid lane, we got Abed juggling as SCCC pokes on him. What do you expect to be happening here with Puck versus Invoker?
Puck is definitely favored early on in this matchup. He can do a lot of things to Invoker that he does not like. He can hit him a lot, War Room and just keep hitting him. But Abed's playing this early lane phase very well, actually. He's doing very well with the CS, so credit to a good player. Looks good.
Abed Invoker, man, this guy is... I think that's his second best hero on top of his Meatbow. He's still been doing really fantastic with that, so hopefully scales up nice and early. I mean, where are DC hoping to hit their power spike? What's their ideal timing? What's their ideal rotation look like?
It's gonna be something like, it's gonna revolve around Legion Commander's lane. Pretty much Mason's gonna get his levels and be left to do his own thing in the top lane, and then probably won't see anything. Neither team will want to deal with this Timbersaw at all, because he'll be able to tank almost everything with his reactive armor, and then Bulbo will be running in the off lane, trying to threaten dual kills and everything like that. But Sven, he's a hard hero to kill, especially when he goes for this Warcry build. all the bonus armor down here, makes it difficult to take down. And it's also a hero that wants to go back eventually.
Yep, overwhelming odds, catches onto 2. Velva just having some fun with that. I mean, what's the threat here if Newbee are just allowed to farm? I mean, will the Sven absolutely get larger than life, or can DC deal with a late game farm fest?
They can definitely deal with it. The Invoker is really strong against Sven later on in the game. He has a lot of tools to kite the Sven when his BKB duration starts to get low. And it's going to be kind of like the game we saw earlier today with the Medusa, where they may start out a little slow and they may not win the game at like 90 minutes, but they're going to have a gigantic window in the mid game where from like 30 to 60 minutes they feel like they're in complete control.
Bit of testing going on, probably a little bit of a hiccup there in the player rooms, but it seems like everyone's back on track, everyone's reconnecting, and we should be underway very shortly, hopefully. So,
hopefully. We've got the word no one likes to see, the 3-letter word lag.
So we'll take care of it. But yeah, just to ask you in general, I mean, this is the former Onyx squad, kind of a ground-up, grassroots Dota team here in NA, and you as an NA player got some of that special insight. So what are some of Onyx's problems as a team, and have they addressed them coming into this road to Kiev, or are they still struggling with some teamwork-oriented or personality-oriented stuff?
I mean, they've been pretty quiet after they qualified to the major. They were dealing with some visa issues with Abed, but it's a good thing they got all that sorted out. I feel like once teams start to catch on to what they're trying to accomplish every game, if Abed doesn't have a good game, I don't feel like they will look anywhere near as strong. But of course, they make sure Abed has a good game. They do a lot to help secure him quite a good game. But I mean, overall, I think they look pretty good. They play well together as a team. They make decisions down here.
Hate to cut you off, the bottom lane looks like Sven's going to be in a world of hurt as the Sunstrike from Abed comes in and secures first blood. It's going to be nice and fancy there as Kaka just has to sit back and watch his team go up in flames. It's going to be letting Dubu punch on him a little bit. And this tier 1 tower is already under siege. We talked about DC having a lineup that likes to come on early, and all these guys are already rearing in that bot lane. Unfortunately, Bulba caught up by the Stormhammer, but Harry Potter trying to run himself away, and Sven just can't catch up to him. Has that Stormhammer up in 4 seconds, but Legion's already long gone.
Yep, DC can now shrine up with these 3 heroes down bottom, and they can just keep running down here. And there's not a thing Newbee can do to really deal with it. They just don't have the tools. And up top, Timbersaw is doing his own thing, tanking all the creeps, has his arcane boots. Also very hard to deal with right now. Like, this is the ideal setup DC wanted in this game.
Yeah, I mean, how did DC keep up the momentum? Do they just keep pushing this bottom lane and looking for the same kill? Or do they have to get creative? Do they have to go and gank Puck and start smoking and keep rotating their lanes?
They can just keep running down at this bottom tower and it'll die eventually. Newbee, the only way they can really fight this is if Puck hits his level 6 and he tries to counter gank with Coil, but even then, it's still difficult because he's going to have to port into a dying Tombstone to heal as well. Actually double heal with LC, so it's hard. Hard for Newbee to really do anything, and DC, all they have to do is just keep fighting in this lane.
Got 3 Radiant heroes now allocating their full attention to make sure that DC don't get out of control here. Meanwhile, Abed's still getting some good farm for himself in the mid lane. Up top, he's got Timbersaw feeling not a single ounce of pressure in the world.
Yep, he's gonna tank up this tower and stack up the creep wave until it eventually takes the tower, and Centaur, if he comes close, is gonna eat some nukes in the face. He does not want to be there. His tower is pretty much gonna die, just a matter of time.
All lanes looking good on the DC front. Demon gonna be TPing out just in time, dodges the Boundless Strike by a millisecond. And everyone just kind of resets. Here, Abed gonna be going in towards that Midas, should have it up, average time, and Puck's early blink. So definitely wants that mobility, wants that slipperiness that Pucks are so known for.
Yep, so Puck actually doing extremely well in the mid lane now ever since he picked up his second Null Talisman. Abed only on 21 CS. This lane starts to get very difficult for Invoker. He's killable now with Coil into any sort of gank when he does, so just doesn't want to be there.
Speaking of gank, we got the rotations coming in as Dubu's just getting real aggressive. Eats up a solo Dream Coil. And, I mean, he's taking up a lot of attention here. Even if he goes down, the rest of his team still doing what they need to be doing. Dubu actually limping away from this on brown boots and a stout shield. He will live with 2 heroes full attention and an ult sprayed out. He is just on top of the world. Now mid lane, Abed just keeping Monkey King harassed, gets that cold snap on him and continues his farm. Things are looking good for DC right now.
Yep, they forced the puck rotation. And Puck actually unable to find anything. But at least it delays their top tower from dying. Puck's kind of made his way up into this lane now. Monkey King's getting some space in the mid lane. Finding his sweet, sweet alone time.
Yep.
That's what he needs every game. Just wants time to do his own thing.
He's already sitting back, level 7, going to be coming out for him very shortly. This is a DC that's off to a great start. I mean, you can't really see it in the net worth. It's not really evident in terms of towers just yet, but this is that high momentum start that DC wanted. Lots of rotations. Only 1 kill coming out for them so far, but it's still looking like it's going the way they want it to go. Even Commander got that blink queued up. It'll be a long time till Bubble's going to be blinking in to get those duels, but still on that path. What does Newbee have to do to make this go their way?
I actually think Newbee are doing very well right now. Sven, he's pretty much free farming. He's avoided like enough pressure in the lane to kind of get what he wants. And now is like the time when he has to leave the lane, which is expected. Once LC hits that level 6, he's pretty much just gonna kill anyone. Like Warlock here.
Yeah, that is a
damage.
dual victory. Invoker, I mean, doesn't even need to help out with that. Bulba takes care of it all on his own. He has a strong, independent Legion commander who now is halfway towards his blink.
Yep, but you know, Newbee avoid it with the heroes they want to avoid it on. They know it's inevitable, but they want to try to get as much experience as they want. Sven's actually coming up a triple stack right now. They want to defend this with Newbee, huh? So chain porting down here, ready to fight this.
They might be able to do so. I mean, Bulba, he's got those raindrops, so he's a little bit tanky. They go in. Fortify, not going to be enough. Demon takes credit for the tower kill. May trade his own life for this, though. He gets so low. The Centaur ult going to be used, and that will be enough to secure the Venge kill. Bulba will be able to limp back under his tier 1 tower just fine, so a tower trade for Avenge, not the worst thing in the world. Meanwhile, we did have Kaka kill off Aren't Dying. So, yeah, trades back and forth.
Yeah, but it's huge they got those return kills because that gives them a lot of experience on their supports. Warlock hits level 6 without the help of the Tome of Knowledge. Monkey King about to hit his 6 as well. And that actually, I think DC wanted that to go much more smoothly than it did. They didn't have the duel when it came up. Like, they got the initial kill with the duel, but then he came back before duel was up again, and then it was a bit awkward for them to go for the tower again right away.
Yeah, the fortify at like a fraction of a percent of HP and then the double TPs in were just a little bit too much for DC to deal with. I think they were hoping that was just a free-for-all, but Sayla v Newbee are putting up a fight. Now Mason going in onto U9. Up in this top lane, just keeping him zoned, making sure the Sven cannot farm here. As our Timber Star is already level 8.5.
Yep, but in the end, they get the tower. That's what they wanted. Whether they lose people or not, they don't really care too much. They're going to do the same thing regardless. And now DC are finding some space to give their supports some levels. Demon's farming up the mid lane. And he's on level 4.5 though. You know, all that aggression, sometimes you get really underleveled because you need some alone time. You need some time to sit back, relax, hit some creeps, get your level 6 like these supports on Newbee have done. And now they're making the rotation up the top lane.
Mason is going to be huge. I mean, it's no easy task, but they're making it look easy as they bring in more than enough damage, get those Jinku Mastery stacks up, and looks like this tower is going to get pretty melted as the rest of DC are just going to be drawing a line straight down mid. They're going to go in for that tier 1 for tier 1 trade.
Yeah, definitely good from Newbee to get that Timbersaw out of lane, but now people are coming back. Timbersaw's up in 10 seconds, and even LC's keeping up top. They can't push this.
Abed caught out completely out of mana here, gonna get Dream Coiled in. He's just on a leash, forced to sit in that Wukong's command, and he's killed off before Mason can even react. That is a really big kill, 30 seconds with no Invoker, taking him out of its prime, and that's gonna be Monkey King starting off on a pretty nasty snowball, 2-0-2. He got himself phase boots queued up, got the money for him too, and man, Newbee, they're dealing with this pressure from DC very well.
Yeah, it's really the big thing that Newbee has done this game is they found space to give their supports levels. Monkey King level 7.5 now. Bench just hit a 6 at that team fight, and that was with the help of the Tome. So Newbee have a lot more experience on their supports right now. Warlock still has a 6, hasn't even needed to ult yet. And they've actually dealt with this Timbersaw pretty well. They've ganked him and killed him in the top lane before he really starts to get out of control. He's still going to be a tanky, annoying monster, but now they've, there's kill threat on him. He can't really be as aggressive as he'd like.
Looking at net worth, I mean, Sven has really kept himself safe. He started out with a lot of pressure in his lane, died a little bit, but he's feeling really nice. Has that Mask of Madness for himself, and now he's got a Sanj and Yasha queued up. I think there's some choice here. I like it. Not a Sven build that we're used to seeing, but I guess times are changing.
Looking to get real active, and Mask of Madness definitely want to push him as well.
So
And he
easy
takes tower
tower,
solo, looking good.
easy creep wave, and yeah, he's definitely making his way towards that Sanj and Yasha. DC, I mean, what do they have to do to really keep up the pressure? Because they drafted a pretty, all-at-you lineup where they just kind of group up and go, and they're kind of being tripped up a little bit. 4-2, Newbee, they've got that laning lead right now, and we're only 13 minutes in.
Yeah, what they want to do is they want to try to bait this Timbersaw, and then they want to have to just like this.
There they go, that's going to be easy. They're dropping an ult for it, swap back out. Mason going to be running for the hills here, but they will get the Venge as a consolation prize. Not the kill they really wanted, but they rake in a couple of dollars there, taking out the Tombstone as well.
Yep. That's, they wanted to do that, but with one more person. They were outnumbered in the fight. They need LC in that team fight to be able to really do anything. Maybe they didn't expect Newbee to commit so many resources to try to kill off a Timbersaw like that, but that's what they want. They want them to bait the Timbersaw, out comes the Tombstone, LC can duel someone in the Tombstone after the Timbersaw gets swapped out into all the Timbersaw damage, and then they can take the fight from there. Pretty much Invoker does not want to get involved in any of these team fights. Like, he's going to get his Aghanim, Spooky Travel, and probably another item before he feels like he's high enough level to really start contributing to team fights, which is pretty normal for an Invoker. But it's a different change of pace, right? With SF in the last game, even though he didn't have the best lane pace, he was still rotating to come to these tower pushes, but in this game, he's probably never going to do that. And that makes DC's 4v5 that much weaker, When we traditionally play against Invoker, like, everyone knows he's never going to come to a team fight. If there's a team fight, he'll always be on the opposite side. And DC smoked up with the LC Blink Dagger, looking to see what they can get while this Warlock ultimate's down.
Dire,
DC
Scan, and
Puck in the
Radiant
mid
just
lane.
tiptoeing around that. Sven's gonna walk in, and man, that'd be a nice duel if they can get it.
He's so tanky though, 1800 HP. I don't know if they can kill him.
They're gonna find out here. They're making their way up to high ground. Warcry popped out, and that is almost certainly not gonna be a successful duel. So Bulba gets a little hasty, charges on Faith under the tower, but just takes a tower shot and walks away. They can't find their opening here, and it's very similar to what we saw in game number 1, where DC gets so focused on kills and rotations that they forget to farm. Meanwhile, Newbee, they're farming up the Storm, and you can totally see that in terms of net worth, now falling towards 3,000 at only 15 minutes in.
Yeah, massive net worth lead for 15 minutes in right now, just on farming. Now Newbee are smoked up, and they get their smoke pop.
They know what's going on. Gonna be a solo Dream Coil onto Dubu. He flush golems and then just sit back and relax. They're bringing in the Monkey King. Also, as a duel comes forward, Bulba finding what he needs to, but KP just hammering on him. They do find that victory onto Bulba. Dubu does eventually go down to U9's sword, but Abed starting to lay in, gets the kill on Kaipi. Oh my, they go in. They will be able to find a tornado to stall out the fight. Bulba blinking back to freedom, and that's going to be a 2-for-2 exchange, but seems like DC got the better of it. They come out with a duel victory. Their cores live, so all in all, pretty well played from DC.
Yeah, they were definitely ready for that. They have so much vision around the mid lane right now, so they pretty much spotted everything. Dubu broke the smoke. He got the Tombstone in an excellent position there that pretty much stopped Newbee from taking the fight, but still, it was a 2-for-2, right? Yeah, 2-for-2. Nice duel on the Warlock there, preventing him from getting the ultimate off. But, I don't know. They had a good start, but just didn't really turn into too much. Just a 2-for-2 when it felt like it should have been heavily favored for DC there. When they got the big Tombstone off, swap and everything. Timbersaw was still alive, dealing massive damage in the fight as well. But this Sven he seems like such a problem right now, doesn't he? 2,000 health with his ultimate of Mask of Madness, just running around in these team fights, doing so much damage.
Yeah, 400 gold off of the new Santiago as well, so he is certainly no one to be messed with. And our Centaur has his Blink Hood up at 17 minutes. Not as fantastically timed as the very first game of our very first series today, but still he's got his kit, he's ready to go, and it's going to be more and more difficult for DC to take these fights.
Yep, it's definitely on the path of being extremely fun.
Down bottom though, DC keeping the pressure up, going to be pressing onto this tier 2. Man, look at Undying, man. He's all about them raindrops.
Oh, Kaka's in a dangerous spot here, but of course he's Monkey King. He's out of there.
Yep, just a quick hop to freedom. So, I mean, again, DC really focused on rotating, looking for those pushes, looking for those easy kills. Abed really the only one that's been staying back and consistently farming this entire time, and you can see the Sven starting to get really out of control in terms of net worth. Abed kind of matching up with him, but our Legion Commander, our Timbersaw, are not quite getting crazy out of
damage for Sven here doing Roshan.
Oh, well, that's easy.
Yep, they even have the Solar Quest completed on Warlock already. That's pretty fast, actually, for a 5-hero.
He's had it for a while. He had the medallion really, really early on. That was definitely his focus, just getting that in the lane as early as possible. And man, this guy is just made of armor. Up Roche. There's going to be the Doctrine coming in, but U9 easily snaps up the Roche kill and the Aegis.
Alright, so nice play from Newbee there. They got blessed with the double damage. Every now and then that happens.
So, getting on your knees for RN Jesus.
That's right, Lord Gaben himself.
So again, DC just sitting back and waiting. I mean, what's the game plan for DC now? Because they're at a kill deficit. In terms of net worth, they're at a fairly sizable deficit for this point in the game. And Abed, I mean, he's feeling like he's doing well. There's a lot of pressure on Mason to be good this game, but it's just kind of Timbersaw really man up against all these heroes and all this team fight.
Definitely not. He was hoping for a bit of a better start where he actually can't get ganked and can't die to these rotations and they actually get more out of it. But Sven is farming so fast this game. He's queued up the BKB next, and once he has that, he can just run down all these heroes. Puck has the coil to keep them in place for him to beat down on. And they don't really have a whole lot to do with that for now. Invoker, once he hits like, his like 20s in levels, that's when he gets really strong at dealing with Sven. He'll have a really far tornado, long disable durations, ice wall, deafening blast. All these spells are great at kiting the Sven, but they don't have damage outside of the Invoker. LC is kind of a damage dealer, right? She has the blade mail, but unless she's farming a whole lot and gets a whole bunch of kills, she's not really going to be able to go into these fights and find up top or Mason.
Yep. Kaka's been keeping eyes on him for a while, but they force him to sit in that Wukong's command, and KP just comes in and ends his suffering. So quick pick for Newbee, and that's just going to be more and more gold flying in their direction. Now there is a big push coming in from DC. They're all smoked up going in for this. They see someone's waiting in the trees, but Faith is just right out of there, not wasting any time. So this tower already being pushed in. There's not a whole lot to find in this bottom lane. DC just getting a little bit more farm, and now Abed is moving with the team, so a little bit of a difference there. Probably going to have a tier 2 for tier 2 push as U9 and friends are ready to go in top lane.
Yeah, but it looks like Newbee actually want to fight this. Warlock does have the ultimate up, and Kaka is keeping back to help defend. And look at KP, he's already set up. They don't want to give this for free at all. DC know that, they see it, they respect it, and they back off, and they're gonna pretty much lose this tier 2 tower top for free.
They will be TPing in Bulba, so at least keeping the tower up temporarily, but yeah, a lot of chip damage done, and DC don't really do a whole lot with their time. They're,
Yep. They have to commit so many heroes to defend these lanes. They support like 3 heroes, and everyone's lingering in the area to help secure the tower defense and everything, and Newbee, they're just farming. And Midas on one.
so huge.
Yeah, he's massive this game. He's almost at his BKB already. He might even not go BKB and go for like a Blink Dagger or something instead. But it looks like he's pretty committed to it for now, especially with that Aegis. Monkey King, he has Midas this game. He has Basher and just a tiny bit of gold. And he's actually going to scale extremely hard this game.
Yeah, that is very different from Monkey King we saw earlier that, yeah, he got his phase boots, he got his first items, and then didn't really do much until like 30, 40 minutes in the game. But now we're seeing Monkey King get active, get online, and stay online. Kaka really making a point to just go for those kills that he can easily get and go for those items that are going to really take him to the next level. So early basher up to help that Wukong's command is super important, especially with SCCC's Dream Coil. They've been really on top of that synergy with, you know, chaining them in place, popping the Wukong's command on it to where you're damned if you stay in it and you're damned if you break the coil.
Yep, and it's only going to get worse and worse as they pick up more and more items, especially when Puck gets his Aghanims. And, you know, the Basher on Monkey King, of course. But yeah, Newbee, like, the way they're pushing these towers is the way DC should have tried to push the towers in Game 1, in my opinion. They're limiting how much DC can get on the map by being better about pushing their lanes out. You see people like Faith was in the bottom lane with his Warlock when DC smoked down, and he actually broke the smoke. So now Newbee know exactly what DC are doing, for sure. So they can set up properly, they TP down heroes. Once they see those heroes in the area, DC back up. And they're pretty much just using their other heroes to outmaneuver instead of kind of just huddling together the entire time. Like, these heroes being in these other places pushing lanes out give them enough information to help them play the game better. That's a big difference between these two teams right now in terms of gameplay. And I think that's what separates Newbee from, you know, them defining themselves as the better overall team for now, of course, but you never know what'll happen in Game 3, or even this game for sure.
Yeah, DC, you can never really count them out. I mean, how is their high ground? Because it is getting to that point where Newbee are ready to just charge at you.
Their high ground is very hard to break. Invoker, Tornado, EMP, Ice Hole, all these spells are very annoying to walk into. But I don't think Newbee have any... They're in no rush to end this game. They know that they can take the control, take the challenge engagements they're, you know, confident in taking. And then after that, they'll wait for ages. They'll wait till they farm up these big items to Ardent Centaur.
They're going in. There is going to be a stomp coming out as Kaka is going to be laying down the Wukong's command. We've got ults from the Warlock coming in as well. They're able to go pick off the Sven. That's going to be huge. They only trade for the Legion. KP running away, going to get his mana burned up by Abed, who's going forward and can't even get off the double edge. That's going to be a 2-for-1 trade. They're going to end it at that. Are they going to find more here? Dubu low, but still able to move forward and scout things out. Looks like the rest of Newbee are able to back off. From the fight recap, though, because DC are so far behind, that is a huge golden XP swing for them.
Yeah, that's such a big kill on the Sven there. Sven unable to get his BKB off with Hope Duel, taking tons of magic damage from the other heroes as he gets dueled. Blade Mail pretty much kills Sven. You know, Blade Mail duel, pretty hard to deal with for a lot of these heroes, but if he can manage to get the Warcry off and the BKB off before he gets dueled, that plus 20 armor and magic immunity should pretty much make the Blade Mail deal like no damage, so he'll probably lose like 30% of his life maximum.
Ooh, Kaka getting some good eyes on what's going down here. I wish they could get this Monkey King. Mason needs to really step up the deforestation, I feel like. He's got all the tools on his hero just to cut down trees left and right, but, you know, really a guy for the environment, Mason.
Yep, nice guy Mason, not cutting down all the trees just yet. But, we've got the Blink Dagger kit up on Sven now. They realize that, hey, we can die to this Blink LC, we need to make sure we get the initiation first, so they're really going to make sure that they can press all their buttons before going in, so nothing like that can happen again. And they're smoked up.
Yeah, this could be huge if they get the right jump. If DC react to this well, though, they could just really waste Newbee's time. Kaka going to be jumping around, seeing when that smoke breaks, and it will be when Mason goes ahead and TPs into the shrine area. So they're going to take the long route around, pinging all the way up to this high ground, and Demon going to be there. Here they go in, they will get the stomp, and now Sven follows up. He's looking for a target, can't seem to find one. This time does get off the BKB before the duel comes out. He gets low, but Sven's going to take out two, does lose his own life as Kaka's just chilling in this circle, hiding behind the trees. Abed's Invoker goes forward, trying to disarm the Centaur, trying to do as much damage as possible. And they will be able to get the Centaur down. In the end, it's going to be Legion trading for two. Very similar to that last engage we saw, and DC, again, still feeling good because they are behind in net worth. Hide that fight recap, we have more going on. There we go. And they're able to get another kill off of that. So again, trading a Legion, who unfortunately didn't win her duel there, for 3 heroes. Still worthwhile for DC.
Yep. Timbersaw actually also went down, but he had so many Bloodstone charges, he came back pretty much right away. But excellent fight from DC. Even though Sven killed himself, he still was able to do a lot more in that fight. He had his BKB pressed and his armor going before he got dueled, so he killed Legion, and then he took a lot of damage from the Sunstrike, but he was still able to take out 2 heroes before going down.
Oh, wave of terror onto Kaka, who's just gonna very quickly run into the trees and TP. So,
Monkey King, very hard to actually lock down.
in terms of overall net worth, I mean, it's still looking good for Newbee, but they're losing a little bit of that acceleration. Their Sven's still farming hard, but if they keep going in and consistently taking these fights where they get 1 but lose 2 or 3, I mean, they're just going to slow their roll a little bit, maybe enough for DC to take this back. Abed late game Invoker is nothing to be messed with.
Yep, definitely an Invoker, one of the best late game heroes in the game, for sure. I think Newbee, even though these fights aren't going exactly how they want, I think they'll still look for these openings, because I feel like they're getting a bit unlucky in the way these fights start. If they can just be a bit more, if the fights are a bit more close together, you know, it'll be better.
Trying to jump into Kaka. They just stampede that away. Boundless Strike holding 2 back. Abed, though, reinitiating with a tornado. They get Monkey King. The rest of his team is there, though. Abed may have committed too deeply. Bulba's coming forward, but 3 heroes caught in that Dream Coil. Oh, it's looking not great for DC as they move forward. All the heroes getting low. They take out Venge. There's going to be a meatball flying through, doing some damage to KP, but they lose their Venge there. And yep, there's going to be perhaps some more deaths. Abed looks like he is able to waddle his way up onto the high ground. Roshan will be up in about 30 seconds, and that's something that Newbee can definitely keep their eyes on.
Yep, and now U9 picks up his Blink Dagger, so he can have a bit of a better time getting around in these team fights. But, for example, if they jump anyone that's not Sven, Sven pretty much has free reign all over these team fights, but these are charges in his really
Look at that tornado.
Alright,
Did
snipes,
Abed really
okay.
just snipe that? Wow, okay. Man, that poor Undying, he was just waiting for his friend before he would shrine up, but didn't make it in time. Alright, very well played there, Invoker. Well, thumbs up for you.
Definitely very cool to see these plays, you know, these random kills across the map that you don't think are possible. That's what just happens sometimes.
That's not, it don't just happen. That's Abed just getting in there, Invokering all over the map. So, now DC really thinking about that Roshan play. They're going to be Bulba getting a little bit crazy. Looking for this. I mean, who's got a better Roche fight here?
I think Newbee definitely have a bit of an advantage in the Roche fight, but DC know that there's no Warlock ultimate, so they're trying to push their advantage right now, trying to force Newbee into a bit of an awkward fight, but U9 does have a Blink Dagger right now. This could be pretty bad for DC if they group up.
Monkey King just going in. Boundless Strike comes forward. He is going to be stunned temporarily. As U9's going to get dueled here. Doing a ton of damage, cutting through 2. Not only a dual victor, but takes out a second victim. And he's just going to be running for his life. Dodges out the tornado, but Zombie's still hot on his heels. U9, will he be able to live through this? Another war cry. Buying himself some more time, stunning up the Undying, clears out the zombies, but will finally fall victim to another decay. It's going to be Mason running for the hills here as Kaka can't continue to press through that chakram, but KP takes him out on the other side. He's fresh out of mana, can't even Timber Chain to safety. Going to get silenced and will just kill himself in the trees. So it will be a Sven for 3. Not an ideal trade, but now Roche can be taken by Newbee if they want to go for this. Look at the reboot here. Tornado, wow, there are 2 heroes call up all in that as Centaur. Gonna be burned down. Abed, please relax. And he kills off Kaka, takes out another with the Sunstrike. Man, this guy's unstoppable. My
That's
god.
right, unstoppable indeed. And now to look at our Roshan. All the heroes on DC are pretty much respawned from that long, extended team fight. And that looked bad for DC, then it just came right back.
Abed, God, man. If somehow DC turned this around, this is on him, as there's going to be a duel moving forward. Bulba helping to secure potentially a solid victory there. They swap forward the bench because she had this stun. Finish him off with a deafening blast. This is cohesion. DC just woke up, reclaimed control of this game. Oh, God. Newbee, what's happening to them?
Air getting slain by Abed.
Yeah. Jeez, it was like I thought Newbee were just getting ready to end it all. Their Sven was larger than life, and then Invoker things.
Yep, and Sven's BKB is put into run out. Now it's at 7 seconds. Once it's at 5, it's like, it's so hard to play against Invoker. You get tornadoed and you have to pop your BKB, and then you just kind of get clowned on. You just run around in circles and then puts a spell on you.
Up top, easy money there for Bulba, just raking it in. Thinking about a BKB of his own. Not a bad choice there. And, I mean, Newbee definitely had a little fall from grace there. You can look at the net worth chart and they're getting down as Abed just going hunting, man. He's got horse on the menu as he pops down the ice wall, and yeah, you can't stampede through that. There's going to be a Sunstrike to finish him off. Mason takes credit for that. Little kill secured. Sharing the wealth as, my god, DC, they just rallied so hard for this mid to late game.
Yeah, all of a sudden Invoker, he's got Octarine, Shivas, and Aghanims. Oh my god, this is quite the dangerous Invoker now.
Sure is, man.
And they still don't have Warlock ultimate for 60 seconds, and they've got Aegis. They could definitely keep going, but of course Sven double damage. If he trades Raxi, this could be very, very bad for DC.
Well, he's getting ready here. We're crying a double creep wave, and how fast this thing melts. There will be a Fortify. Down bottom, you got a Peeble channel, 2 heroes stuck in that Dream Coil, just buying themselves some time as they TP back. There's going to be that stun. Abed breaks the Dream Coil, looking for the Tornado catch, but looks like our boy Sven is long gone, TP'd back to safety, so a little bit of a game of chicken there. Sven, I feel like making the right move, just forcing out those TPs back, using that double damage just to make Digital Chaos real scared.
Yep, definitely a good move there, forcing them back. And, you know, that's how you burn out the Aegis timer, right? You force them to keep running across the map. DC want nothing but to just walk up to the hill of Newbee and start attacking the tier 3s. And now Newbee have bought themselves some more time. Sven's going to be going for the 8C next, it looks like, just trying to tank up. I feel like, no matter how tanky he gets, he's always going to get kited. So he might need to just keep building more damage, even though Revenge is going to swap the target he goes on. They just need to be able to, like, they need multiple ways of starting the fight. You know, maybe he doesn't have to jump in right away. Maybe Centaur can start the fight for him, so he can just sit back and wait for a different target. But, yeah, it's still really hard to play against Revenge swap when you're Sven.
Bulba, oh, he's hunting. Goes in.
Nice reaction. KP swings up before the duel comes out.
Serious fast fingers on that guy, and there is going to be pressure onto this tier 2 up the top lane. Abed comes in. Quick phase shift from the puck and blink out is going to be just about it. You've got a tree on top of a tree here as Monkey King is getting weird.
Yeah, it hides you from being detected by wards, so if there's a ward on that cliff, he won't show up on the mini-map.
He's just going to be gliding his way through back to safety.
Undetected. And the Centaur is closing in on his heart pretty soon. Just the rest of your way and smoke up from DC here.
They're looking to go in. I mean, seems like Newbee are playing really safe, realizing that a couple of picks, a couple of bad team fights in this game slips from the grasp, so definitely as soon as their spidey senses start tingling, they're running, and well, Puck being caught out here, it's pretty difficult to actually get on top of him. He's one of the slipperiest heroes in Dota. They keep a little bit of vision going. Lincoln's pop, and yep, they're just trying to run him down, forcing him out. Meanwhile, you got...
This is space. Like, look at the position of mid lane now. This lane's not far enough in for them to really do anything. Top lane's being pushed, bottom lane's being pushed. They keep going for these smoke ganks when they just don't have lanes pushed out. It takes them so long. And now, Kaka might get caught here, but he's got pushed out of it.
Oh, but he's sitting underneath a dire ward. Sucks. That's just such unfortunate positioning, and that's going to be another quick duel for Bulba. Now sitting at 62 bonus duel victory damage, and yeah, he's getting pretty big there. Mid lane, we are going to have our Aegis reclaimed, so Invoker is sitting with an extra slot, and he's ready to go ahead and pressure high ground with or without this Aegis. It seems like with the Monkey King down, this is the time, this is where their AoE damage is a little bit lacking. They just got to get the whole DC crew in and really coordinate their efforts, and they can definitely do this.
Yeah, Invoker's so close to level 25 power spike as well. Probably won't get it here once the heroes start dying, but this upheaval is quite hard to push into.
They are going to go ahead and get Mason chilling a little bit. Puck moving forward, tossing out that green foil, but you can tell Newbee a little bit stumped on how to fight this. What stuff they're going to give up, you know, what resources they're going to use. Do they drop golems now? Do they use Sven's BKB now? It's pretty tough, and this tower does end up going down to Abed's 4Gs. That's going to be just a quick retreat from DC. They got everything they wanted. Monkey King's still down. They didn't lose any heroes, didn't have to spend any real major abilities. And they're going to go clear out all the shrines and take control of the Roche pit.
Yep, Timber saw when he walks up the hill there with his reactive armor stacked up. He's got 52 armor when Demon uses the Solar Crest on him. And now with that tier 3, they're free to take out all these shrines. Man, Timbersaw, when he's got that much armor and that much regen all stacked up, you just can't go on him. And he just takes the tower. Undying drops his own tower with the tombstone, and now high ground defense is pretty much impossible.
Well, there's going to be a big smoke up as maybe DC get caught off guard. They're just scanning around the shrine, trying to see if DC are going back and juicing up and ready to go back in. But DC are going for the full back here, picking up their next round of items, pushing out their lanes. They still got a tier 2 up. They got to keep that nice and safe. And Abed is just going to be TPing in and going for that split push. He is getting pretty gigantic now. Picks up his level 25. No surprise, goes for the tornado cooldown, so I believe it's 9 seconds?
Yep,
yeah,
9 seconds.
It's very quick. There are going to be tornadoes flying out every which way.
This is when the game gets ridiculous. Sven, BKB, still at 7 seconds, but in these team fights, I don't feel like he can really lock down Invoker. Invoker's got the Shivas getting extremely tanky now with the BKB, and there's always that defensive bench swap. Unless Newbee can really keep them confined in an area to receive the Monkey King beatdown, it's going to be pretty hard for them to take team fights.
Vision Commander now with that Gem of True Sight, just whacking vision, making sure that they're firmly in charge of their side of the map. And DC, I mean, clearly they're ready to just get in there and end this. You've got Abed now hitting that big late game Invoker stride. How do you cripple Newbee once and for all? Like, who's the most important hero to be isolated and killed off? What's their game plan for actually breaking this high ground a second time?
Well, they're probably hoping to get Aegis on a hero that's not Invoker, so they can kind of do two things, you know. Timbersaw can kind of sit there on the high ground and get vision by standing in the front with Aegis, and then Invoker can freely hit the tower without much, you know, danger being around. But if they can get the duel off onto the Sven, that's obviously helpful, but LC's main goal is just to remove any stuns or disables, anything off of Invoker pretty much. He's just chipping away at this mid-rax.
Silence up onto Mason, but again, Timbersaw doesn't particularly care, gonna be focused down here, but the rest of his team now has a big chance to react. Bench swaps herself in, tries to save Mason, will go down herself, but Mason's still up. Newbee taking a lot of damage, trying to crawl through this upheaval. There is gonna be a duel, as finally Bulba finds another one. He's just slaying. Still got his BKB rolling. They will be able to kill off the Warlock as well. KP goes in, gets a double man stomp, and tries to find that double edge, but it doesn't seem like it's enough here. The silence onto Invoker. A little bit scary, but Abed keeps his cool, and now Kaka going to be clipped down by Mason's shotgun as well. This is not looking easy to fight. Mason zoning everyone back, where Invoker's little Forge Spirits start chipping away on these melee racks, still keeps control. U9 now back in it, gotta be careful, but all his mana's burn up. He doesn't even have enough for a stun. KP getting very low as well. This tanky Centaur, not really feeling tanky at all. He's got a heart and a hood, but you can't even tell. He's just tilting and gets disarmed there. Finished off by Bulba. Look at that teamwork just going in. They even get Puck caught up in that tornado. This is feeling like suddenly Newbee are crumbling. DC are executing so well here. They just gotta be careful not to throw right now. Kaka gets too caught out, but they get the cold snap on him as well. Finish him off. His body's gonna hit the floor. Gems are flopping around. Abed is godlike, and this is DC just taking back the reins of this game, and they're preparing to end it all after this Roche.
Yeah, Roshan's up to it. It's the Abed show. This guy is unstoppable right now. They have bench swap to save him in these team fights to really let him get in there and cast the spells freely. Legion commanders press the attack, also resets, stuns and everything. And Timbersaw he's tanky. He gets in there, hard to deal with, and he provides vision. Everything he needs to be able to do what he wants in these team fights. And now there's going to be an Aegis on top of everything as well.
Yeah, this is the lead that DC need. I feel like if they can't close it out in this window, they're not going to get a better one handed to them. They're playing this so well. Abed making space for his teammates making space for Abed. This team just has a really clear idea of how their synergies work, and it's great. Puck here, just trying to clear out the lanes, trying to delay the inevitable push, as there is half a lane of super
on
creeps.
Invoker now too.
Oh yeah, that's
6-second
fair.
tornado.
Yeah, because there weren't enough tornadoes on the map.
Get this out of the game, Valve. Come on. No one wants to see this shit.
Yeah, it's DC trying to collect themselves and finally go in, take another full set of racks. I mean, how's Newbee's high ground? They've got a Sven, but he doesn't seem to be giving him much struggle.
Well, we saw what happened last time DC pushed, right? They dropped the Tombstone, Timbersaw sat in the front with 50 armor, pretty much untouchable. Unless Newbee want to take the fight before all these spells get dropped, I don't see how they can stop Invoker from just clicking down their base. They have to dive so deep, and they've got all these defensive tools to deal with them. Reset the fight. It looks pretty hard.
Abed now making his way forward. SDCC gonna get caught in the tornado. Centaur very patiently going in, finds the stomp onto Mason, while E9 is gonna go ahead, focus down Dubu, but Dubu's still alive, Mason's still alive as well. Golem's drop connects onto 3, this is gonna be huge. Well, Mason's already gonna be going down, buys right back in. They should be able to find a kill and leave the commander. Now Abed, he's silenced, this is gonna be scary. He's gonna be respawning with the Aegis, but I don't think he's gonna be able to live through this. Dubu finished off, drops the gem. Abed, he's fighting, he's got his BKB rolling, but it's him versus the entire world. His teammates just aren't there to help him out. He does make it back up to safe high ground. Is he going to actually be able to escape this? It looks like he played this just right. He's going to be ghost walking to freedom. Puck has that gem, but not going to be able to go ahead and close that distance. I mean, he's trying. Is Abed leading him into certain death? It looks like they're going to be accepting that stalemate here. Still huge hold for Newbee.
Yeah, big pull. The difference in that fight was Sven actually jumped the back line. He blinked in, stunned the Undying. He wasn't able to kill the Undying right away, but he forced them to cast their spells to save him. LC healed him, Duel came out and everything, but it was after Sven had already used everything. Sven has AC now, so he doesn't really kill himself on his own Blade Mail. And, I mean, Sven is getting scarier and scarier, but he still really doesn't want to hit Invoker. He wants to kill these heroes in the back lines. And that fight did feel much better for Newbee compared to the last one.
Yep, Mason there, again, did buy back on the Timbersaw, but didn't get himself back into the fight, so 6 Bloodstone charges, buy back on cooldown for 5.5 minutes. And that's a window. It's a small window for Newbee, but definitely something they can use to pull themselves back into this.
Yep, Puck's picked up his sweet gold talent now. He's finding gold everywhere, apparently.
Gotta get that plus 420. I'm a fan of the Illusory Orb move speed. It's just so ridiculous. You can just cross the entire map, but yeah, I guess you need those real late game items. He's going to be picking up a Dagon level 3. Got the level 5 all queued up, so he's going to be zip-zapping some magic damage as 3 KBs are wearing low.
Yep, speaking of BKBs, Monkey King just picked up his 10-second BKB, so he's pretty
that's
dangerous in
gross.
these team fights.
Oh, yeah.
Quite a dangerous spot.
He's in a lot of danger there, I tell you what. Easy pick
No
for Legion.
buyback on the Monkey.
So, yeah, Gemma Trusite dropped as Bulba rakes in another one, almost 100 extra dual damage on him. They're going in, looks like Sven finds himself an opening as, wow, that Undying is super dead. And now U9 gonna get blasted down. We got 3 BKBs in a little circle here, but U9, can he really stand up to the masterpiece that is Bulba? Looks like no, he's going to be dying, and that's 112 seconds with no Sven, no buyback on the Sven. Abed, he's fighting for his life here, going in, gets another tornado onto the Warlock, and it looks like Warlock's going to be struck down by the sun. Abed looking to close things out by killing off that Puck, who's running back to his base, the lone survivor on his team. We've got a buyback on the Centaur, but I don't think that's going to be enough. Looks like Abed and 4G is going to be taking out the tier 3 tower, going in for a set of racks, and this potentially could be megas. Monkey King's going to be up in 30 seconds, but that's the soonest help they've got.
Yeah, they get a nice quick pick there, and then Newbee realized they're going to lose the game unless something happens. So they try to take the fight unsuccessfully, as we just saw, but now DC are just rolling down the racks. And it doesn't look like there's anything Newbee can really do to stop this. Abed is just out of control.
triple damage rune grabbed up by Demon. Not going to save it for Bulba, but yeah, this is just an efficiency thing. They're getting in there, and they're going for more racks here, looking to make it megas. Mason continuing to zone, but it's going to be a little more difficult with 3 heroes up and in the fight. Another tornado and the EMP. This could be huge. There's a green throw coming in, but Abed's BKB doesn't particularly care. Kaka comes in. He's going to get swapped out of his circle. That's going to be huge. There's a duel on him. This Monkey King is dead for 80 seconds, and this very well might be game. DC looking stronger than ever as they go forward, and they're ready to go and make this megas. SCCC going to be going down. There will be one last Warlock ult into the upheaval. KP is fighting for his life, but going to get dragged every which way. Mason making it back down to low ground. There's only 2 heroes left to defend the base. Newbee aren't tapping out to the bitter end, but it's looking real tricky to come back from this. This is the momentum swing that DC needed all game. They've been waiting for it. Vengeful Spirit taken out before her time, but all the racks are going down. It's now mega creeps for DC.
Jesus, what can they just can't do anything. Like, they go on one guy, they get swapped out, they go on another guy, he gets healed, and then BKBs. It's just like Sven runs around the entire time trying to find someone to hit, and then the only one he can hit is the Legion Commander who duels him. It's just a mess all around for Sven in this game. He just can't hit anything that he wants to hit.
I mean, what happened to him? He felt so triumphant. He was sitting on like Sanj and Yasha and Mask of Madness by like 15 minutes. It was absurd, but he just kind of stopped.
Well, once Invoker comes online, this team fight gets much harder. And we also saw the LC get 2 pretty clutch duels off in these team fights where Sven killed himself from full HP. Like 2 team fights in a row. And then pretty much from there, I mean, his game is just downhill. Invoker's getting stronger and stronger. His BKB is never gonna, increase in duration. It only goes down, so he's just gonna have a harder and harder game against all these spells. And their lineup is pretty much set to reset these team fights. Right, Venge Swap comes out, now you can't go on this guy. You pretty much have to either... Now, this person's saved. And then you have 2 Solar Crests, so they can keep Solar Cresting whoever needs to, survive in these team fights. And then they also have the LC heal and the duel to redirect damage that the Sven deals. So they just have all these tools to kind of deal with him in these team fights. They kite him, they force him to attack a Blade Mail, and they just have all these disables that make him hard to, make it really hard for him to take anything.
It's getting really tough. I mean, percentage-wise, can Newbee come back from this? Are we giving it like a 5%er, or is it just a sealed deal?
5 is generous.
All right, Brax, you tell it like it is.
I'm a realistic kind of guy, and this is looking pretty tough, but they're going to make a last stand here. They're smoked up. They do have a Lincoln Sphere on the Sven now, courtesy of the puck.
It'll last a little bit, unless the entire team gets tornadoed, in which case, they're going right back to the base.
Yep, their base is receiving the beatdown thanks to these mega creeps, and DC knows something's up.
Meanwhile, Roche will be, we'll see, it's going to be a relatively short respawn, about 1 minute, 10 seconds on that. So they'll pass by Roche for now, just in favor of keeping these lanes pushed all the way in. Sven can clear creep waves pretty quickly, and they can puck now, but that means the problem with the team fight is up for grabs. Now Stampede, just to keep this fast little piggy safe, as Kaka goes in, they're going to be, got a nice boundless strike. Kaka going to be going in, little circle of death coming forward. DC, they got to hold this. They will get a nice duel off onto the Sven, and Sven is getting so low. He does go down. He has buyback. He's probably going to have to spend it here. Getting that right back up. Abed is still up and still fighting. Tier 4s are pretty heavily under attack as Abed God gets another one with a tornado into a Sunstrike. Demon left to hold off the entire team, and Mason just going to be dragging them around as Lulu, without any mana, just holds everyone in place so Abed can go beyond godlike, get a triple kill, and seal the deal. DC take out Newbee 2-0 in the Kiev Major group stages. My God, Brax, what a treat this series was.
Yeah, well played DC. Definitely surprising a lot of